Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart loved birds. His letters to family and friends mention several pet canaries he had during the course of his life. But the most famous bird Mozart ever owned was his beloved starling. The story goes that Mozart frequented a pet store in Vienna and became enamored with a particular European starling. These birds have an uncanny ability to mimic vocal sounds, and presumably Mozart taught the bird to recite the opening melody of the third movement of his Piano Concerto No. 17 in G major. Mozart purchased the bird on May 27, 1784. We know this because he marked it in an expense book, along with a transcription of the bird's version of Mozart's melody, which had a couple of mistakes. The mistakes didn't matter to Mozart. In the book, after the transcription, Mozart wrote the words, "That was beautiful." A few years after he bought the starling, Mozart's father Leopold passed away. The two had had a tumultuous relationship, and Mozart was either unable or unwilling to attend the funeral. A week later, the starling passed away as well. Mozart threw a lavish memorial service, complete with veiled mourners, a tombstone, congregational hymns, and a reading of a verse that he had written for the occasion. "A little fool lies here whom I held dear, a starling in the prime of his brief time, whose doom it was to drain death's bitter pain. Thinking of this, my heart is riven apart." Then it goes on from there. There's a different version of the story, one in which Mozart didn't teach the starling the melody from his piano concerto, but rather that the bird first sang the tune to him in the pet store. It makes you wonder, who is mimicking who?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to our daily New England bird report from the beautiful state of Rhode Island here in 2022. And here we are looking at, believe it or not, one of the world's most wonderful sights of what's called a murmuration. This is a starling murmuration. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of starling birds that are flocking together, and they're in synchrony. There's no leader, there's no follower. The birds fly in formation at 35 to 40 minutes in the evening when the sun sets across fields, as you can see them here in this video. And this is a National Geographic video that we captured to look at some of the starlings. If you want more information, here's a little bit more information where you can see the full-length version. So let's look at the real birds that close up of these beautiful European starlings. The European starlings came to the United States in the late 1800s when one of the English settlers brought in some of these birds and let them in the wild in New York Central Park. And since that time, they've now multiplied, so there's hundreds of millions of these starlings across North America. They're very beautiful birds. But the thing about these birds is that they're very gregarious. You can see here this bird went around and he sort of nudged his partner. You can see that he's sort of telling him to, he kind of clips him and he tells him to go fly away, and then he flies on the suet. But look how gregarious and friendly they are. They're very social. They're one of the most social animals where they communicate. They're also very, very intelligent. And as you saw from the video where they were flying in that very dense flock of thousands of birds, hundreds of birds at the same time, they fly in very tight formation right next to each other and communicate with great agility and great grace while they're flying and moving through the air. People still wonder why they do that, but you can see here another little squabble or spat where they're kind of pairing off with each other as they're enjoying the bird food. When people who have bird feeders look at these birds, one of the things that they're concerned about is the birds, because so many of them land on the bird feeders, they kind of clean out the food trays very quickly. So they're very hungry birds. There's often very many of them, hundreds of them, and they can quickly go through like all the bird food very quickly. So that's, I guess, on the downside. But aren't they gorgeous? Look at the beautiful coats. They're iridescent feathers and patterns. These are males, full-grown European males. And what gorgeous, gorgeous coloring on these starlings. They'll continue here, and they'll come back a couple of times, but see how gregarious they are and how quick they are to devour the food. So we're just watching, and this was one of the only 2 or 3 times this year that we've seen these beautiful European starlings come and feed on our bird feeders. It was really, really nice to see them. We haven't seen them over the last several weeks or months. This was actually in March, maybe late February, March, April timeframe. I think they came back maybe once or twice, but not in this kind of group scenario. Here's one up at the top, and then he again, see, they're making great progress on this suet and also the food tray. But what I loved about all these photos in this video is the fact that they're all together, and they're communicating with each other and they're flocking together, and just how social they are together and their interaction. So I hope you're enjoying this video as much as I am, and I wanted to, share the full footage of it, and I'll also post the one without the voiceover so that if you're interested in just watching the birds by themselves, you can also do that. These are really pretty to see, close and up front like this. But I also I slowed down the video a little bit to show some of the interaction where there was a bird, bird conflicts going on this food tray while they're feeding. I could watch these birds all day. In fact, we often do watch these birds, and our cats also love to watch both the video of the birds and the birds outside in the backyard. So hope you're staying safe, taking time to enjoy nature and take care of yourself. Thank you very much for watching.